want to introduce myself. I'm Michael Barber. I'm the superintendent of the Pell City School System. I'm sitting here with Miss.
I'm Jenny Seals, and I'm the superintendent of the St. Clair County School System.
And we want to talk to you today about a very important vote that is going to take place in the county for education on January 30th, and that's next Tuesday. As we've traveled around and talked to people in the county, in Pell City, we've had several questions that have come up about the millage vote, the tax vote for property tax. And so we wanted to share a few of those questions with you today, and hopefully you'll share those out so that we can get the information out that is correct. And so to the very best of our ability today, and that's what we're trying to do, is just go through a list of questions so that we might put your mind at ease and educate folks about what we're asking for with this vote. What will the money be used for? And so, you want to talk about St. Clair County's needs first?
Okay. Well, for us, we have many capital needs. We want to make sure that we have some our new schools and the growing areas. We have renovations in all of our communities. And every community that we have will be touched and will be benefited by this tax increase. But not all of it's about capital improvements. We also have where we want to decrease the class sizes for our teachers and add back teachers and students. And we want to add back music and art that we're missing. Increase our pre-K programs. I mean, those are very important. The state is looking at helping us with that. And want to fund some of our new programs that we want to incorporate. Also technology, and to improve that, and some coding. What are you going to do, Dr. Barber?
Well, when people say what will the money be used for, I think probably the big broad statement is education. And education now looks so different than education did years ago. St. Clair County is one of the fastest growing counties. We met with the Economic Development Council and Leadership St. Clair County last week, and just the business and industry that is coming in, but we want to add a career tech center. We want to expand the offerings, certification offerings for our students. Many of our kids want to stay here in the county, and I think that's a wonderful thing. When you look at what we're trying to do, health care in St. Clair County, Veterans Home, the hospital, just all of the medical facilities that we have. We've added courses as far as nursing assistant and farm techs. We want to expand those programs, and our kids are interested in those programs. We want to continue to do our pre-engineering and building science, and so that's why we need a new career tech center. I'd like for it to be housed here right now. We are participating in the Craft Academy, and I know you are as well. But we're sending kids to Birmingham, then we're bringing them back, and nothing against Craft Academy. They do a wonderful job, and those certifications are wonderful certifications. But we would like to do more of that here. Our curriculum is driven by the needs of our community, and they always have been, and we want to do more of that. We need a new junior high in Pell City. Right now we have a 7th grade standalone school and an 8th grade standalone school, and folks there do a great job, but when you only have a student for a year, it's hard to get to know that child, get to know their parents, really make the connections that you could make if you had them a little bit longer. And so though our people do a wonderful job, I would love to see a new junior high come to Pell City. We are in the same situation. Technology, we're starting new coding classes, but with that, it takes a teacher and and materials. And so our technology needs infrastructure, devices, one-to-one initiatives, all that takes money, and we're a part of that. Our pre-K programs, we're expanding. We're proud of that. But right now we're still on a lottery system. I know you are as well. And what that means is names are drawn, and not everyone can have a child go to pre-K that needs that offering. And so I would love to expand that as well. And just a large group of needs, capital improvements, instructional needs, teachers, units. I think we're kind of saying the same thing. We're in a fast-growing county, and the needs are there.
And I just want to reiterate that it is for education only.
Right.
And it's educational tax.
Well, we're in buildings that were built. We have one, and it's a wonderful building, but it was built in 1948. We have others that were built in 1954. And when you drive by and you see a roof going on, you have to understand that's about $300,000 a section, and so there's an expense too. And we would like to expand our transportation department as well. We were able to purchase some buses, but we still have some buses that need to be swapped out as well. So a lot of needs.
We do. We have a lot of needs in the county. Yes.
Well, and that gets into one of our other questions. When was the last time that there was a successful tax increase for St. Clair County? And I like to say this before I was born, but we're talking about
19. I was 4 years old.
Well, I'm not going to date you, but you know, our school system is different now. Our county is different, and the needs of trying to get our kids ready for the workforce, but also for the world. And to say that we should fund things the same way, or fund education the same way that we have since 1960. At 13.5 meals, we're below everyone else in our neighborhood, I would say. There is not a school system that touches our school system or our school systems that is lower than us. And so when you think about that, we are at 13.5, and we have school systems around us that are at 30, and we'll show you a slide about that. But I think the only one that is close to us is 18, and that's only one. Even if we get the entire 8 meals, we will still be probably below the majority of, because most people are at 22 now, up to 50 meals and beyond.
Yes.
But we'll let that slide address that. But when was the last time there was a successful increase on millage? It was in 1960. Here's a good question, and I get this everywhere I go. Will the money follow the students? Most people know that we have students in Pell City that actually live in the county, about 50+%, 51%. And so I get that question.
And I'm glad you're going to clear this up.
What will happen with that money? We have 2 very good CSFOs, and we identify the kids who live in the county, and we get the state funding for the children in the county, but also this money will follow the student and where they go to school. And that's a misconception out there. And I think many times people think, well, we're not getting the funding. We are getting the funding, and so the money will follow the students.
And just like with Lead and Trustful, you know, that little portion
it will follow those kids back to.
Follow those kids to there.
And as it should, where they're being educated. So
it's a small portion, but they will get that.
This one, we've already asked about when was the last time we raised taxes for schools. That's 1960. Who will get the funds? And let me just say this, the school boards will get the funds. And then your elected school board, we have plans that our capital improvement plans that we address the needs. And so if these funds do become available, we will revisit our capital improvement plan, but this will go to, and I like to say this, ultimately who will get the funds? The kids will benefit directly from the funds. And so
it's educational. That's what that people need to realize, that this is an educational tax that we're asking for and that we really need, this 8 meal. It's educational. It's not for anything else but educational.
This is a question that, from my mother to my wife, they want to know the answer to. And this is really the question that impacts people. How much will this cost us? How much will this cost the voter that is out there in St. Clair County? And so, I don't want to get real technical on this, but when you have a home that is appraised at $100,000, it is assessed at a lower rate, 10% of that. So this 8 meals would be on a $100,000 home. It would be $80 a year. And now I know you've broken that down to kind of a weekly cost.
That's $1.54 a week.
Okay, and I don't want to make light of $80 a year, or if you have a $200,000 home. Of course, I don't want to make light of what it costs. But at the same time, that question does come up a great deal. And Homestead
makes it lower.
Okay, all right.
So if people need to make sure they claim homestead.
Right. And so on a $100,000 home, appraised at, assessed at 10% of that value, on a $100,000 home, it would be $80 a year.
Right. And they need to realize that assessed and appraised are different, and they need to look at the assessed, 10% of what the home is appraised for.
All right.
So.
What will the ballot look like? And this, because it is a 5 and a 3, there's a 3 district and then a 5 countywide. And so that's what makes up the 8 mills. You have to go in, the ballot will have two places there to vote, and you vote for it. And so I know some people have said 4 and 4 is 8, but if you go in and you say that you're for the 5 and for the 3, that's how it makes up the 8. So the ballot will actually have 2 items, but they'll be the only 2 items on the ballot. There won't be any other item listed, and so we hope that people will go out and support both the 5 and the 3, the countywide and the district. Where do I vote? Where do you vote on this?
Well, you vote where you voted for your president, and so that's where you vote.
Yep.
You go to where you're registered to vote at. You have to be a registered voter.
Of St. Clair County.
Of St. Clair County.
And then go vote where you voted for the president. And so, and who can vote? And that's a registered voter
of St. Clair County.
Where do we rank right now according to the state and funding? You want to go first on that one?
Well, according to the funding, St. Clair County is 130 out of 137 of our systems.
On per pupil spending?
Per pupil spending, correct.
130 out of 137?
130 out of 137.
Wow. And I'd like to say that Pell City is a little bit higher than that, but we're at 118 out of 137. And let me say this, we're very fortunate to have the support of the County Commission, City Council.
Yeah.
People say, well, you know, this funding is there and this funding is there. This is per pupil allocation, this is local funding, this is all. And so you're 130 out of 137 and we're 118 out of 137. And if anyone wants to really question that, you can go on the Alabama State Department of Education website and see where everyone else is listed as well. What's our current millage and how does that compare to others around us? And we've already mentioned that. We are at 13.5 mills. I think there's a county system that touches ours, and I think they are at 18, but everyone else is around 22, and we will show that graphic and let everyone see really.
It really starts out at 30, a little over 30, so.
And goes on up, and so.
We are the lowest.
There's definitely a division there, and so, and again, we thank our county officials and our city officials and our city fathers on everything that they do for us. But someone said, well, you know, what about sales tax? Well, sales tax fluctuates. It's dependent upon the economy, and though that is a funding stream for us, depending on how the economy is going, and we saw in 2008 that things did take a turn.
It did.
And so when you're talking about building buildings and putting in programs and funding existing programs, you need that stability, and that's where we get into the millage. So I hope that we answered most of the questions. Those are the questions that have really just kept coming up. Is there anything else that I didn't cover or that we didn't cover?
No, I think we did. I think we covered the questions that were on social media, and we've been looking. We just want people to know that this is for the kids, and this is something that we're passionate about, and we want our kids to have we just need to, we're not asking to be the most, but we're asking to at least get up there to where our surrounding counties, what they are. So I think you did a great job, Dr. Barber. Thank you.
You as well, and Ms. Hills, thank you. And we hope that you will take this video and share it out, because, like I said, we have been around talking to different groups. We have more groups to speak to, but we may not reach everyone. And so please share this out and let people know. And we hope that you will go out and support the vote. Remember, 4 and 4 and equals 8. And
January 30th, next
January
Tuesday.
30th, next Tuesday. Thank you.